What is the best way to provide employees with their evaluations? Well, there are a few simple yet powerful guidelines that managers should follow. Employees' reviews should be regular, meaningful, and detailed. Regular means that you don't wait until the end of the year to provide people with feedback, especially when there are consequences to it. One of the rudest things you can do to another person is to tell them on their yearly performance review that you were not happy with something they did a few months back. And then you go ahead and penalize them for it. It makes people feel very frustrated with you and with the performance review process. If someone is not performing well or they did something that you think they shouldn't, then you need to let them know about it as soon as possible. Waiting until the end of the year when they literally have no way to improve or offer an explanation is simply unfair. I recommend having a performance review with each one of your direct reports 4 times a year, each quarter. I also recommend that you have a weekly time on your calendar where you have an open office. During this time you are at your desk or any other private location, and any one of your team members can simply come over and talk to you. It's important that you make this a sacred time, not something that you keep on changing or worse, you keep on canceling. Some managers like to have a weekly one-on-one. This can work great if you manage a few people. However, it might be a lot more challenging if you happen to manage a larger team. Personally, I don't like to have pre-scheduled one-on-one meetings with everybody because I feel that they can easily start feeling forced, especially if people don't have anything to talk about. Instead, I like to combine having an open office hour with a daily 5-minute conversation with each one of my reports. Now, you might think that spending 5 minutes a day with each one of your employees is too much work. However, in truth, it is not. I managed large teams of over 20 people, and I still had enough time to talk to each person every day. In fact, I made sure to have the time. It is better for you to spend 5 minutes a day with each person asking them about their day than it is for you to spend 60 minutes with them in one sitting. This type of interaction, it generates a personal connection between you and your team members. And it allows you to learn about who they are and what they do on a regular basis. Meaningful means that when you perform a personal review, it addresses meaningful and important topics to both you and the other person. People are not interested in having personal performance reviews so that you can check some boxes and ask some generic questions. Let me ask you this. How do you want to be treated when your manager is giving you your performance review? Do you want them to be attentive, caring, and meaningful? Or do you want them to last 5 minutes and actually mean nothing? For reviews to be meaningful, you, as a manager, need to do your homework. You need to prepare for each review, take the time to truly think about the person you're evaluating, and above all, you need to care about what they do and who they are. If you don't care about them, their careers, and their happiness at work, it doesn't really matter what you do or say. They will know that you're full of it. I like to ask open-ended and personal questions when I perform reviews. Questions that allow both me and the other person to learn about the here and now, but also about aspiration and needs. A good example of questions that I use is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? What type of job are you doing regardless of if you're working here or you're working somewhere else? Are you happy? What would be one thing that I could do for you that will make your workday a little bit better? Is there anything small or big that kind of really bothers you at work? Something that if I could change would make your life better. Now, you get the idea. The idea is to have a meaningful conversation that allows you as a manager to better understand who you are managing, while also providing people with an opportunity to engage and think about what they do and where they want to be. Now, don't forget to take notes, but still, you want to pay attention to what is said. Get your head out of your notebook or your laptop. It's more important that you listen and engage You always can complete your notes after the meeting. Another important cornerstone of making sure reviews are meaningful, and maybe that's the most important one, is that you have to follow through. If all that turns out of your reviews is that it's an exercise in futility, if you never do anything with the information you receive, then no one will take you and your performance reviews seriously. If an employee asks you for a new keyboard, make an effort to get them one. If you're not able to do so, let them know and explain why. Don't just forget about it. Otherwise, why are you asking people to tell you what they need? Detailed means that you provide people with sufficient details regarding what you expect from them, what they do well, and what they need to improve on. You go beyond those one-liners and you provide as much information as you can. This goes back to doing your homework as a manager before the performance review. Taking time to truly think about what people do, what they excel at, where do you think they can improve? If you're not able to provide concrete details, it feels more like you're going on a hunch rather than you're basing your evaluation on facts. A performance review is not the place to mince words and use a minimalistic approach. Be honest, be kind, caring, and detailed. If you need someone to improve, or you want to share a complaint about them, be as clear as possible. What is it that you expect of them? When do you expect it? And what is at stake? Don't get me wrong, I know how hard it can be, especially when there is a lot of things going on or when you have to be the bearer of bad news. But then ask yourself, do you want to be a manager or do you want to be a great manager? A manager that makes a difference in people's lives. The kind of manager that helps people become better people and not just better employees.